What is going on, guys? Jason Brick here, Styles Clash for life, coming at you on YouTube, and today I've got some football focus. I wanted to come back and cover rounds 4 through 7 for the Steelers, plus the unrestricted free agents. If you guys want my Pittsburgh Steelers first 2 days of the draft, rounds 1 through 3 review, that is up on this channel. I've got free agent videos, I got draft prediction videos, and I've got a video for rounds 1 through 3 that I posted yesterday, so go back and check that out. I give my thoughts on Najee Harris, Pat Freiermuth, and Kendrick Green as potential long-term starters for the Steelers. I graded the first 2 rounds. I gave the grade of a B-. I was kind of in the B- range for the first 2 days of the draft. So let's see how rounds 4 through 7 and the unrestricted free agents panned out to see how we filled the roster out. We had plenty of needs. We drafted a lot of big physical guys. All 3 of our first 3 picks, Harris, Freiermuth, and Green, are all big physical dudes who could all be impact players right away, but it kind of made you wonder what they were going to do with offensive line, with corner, stuff like that. So let's get into day 3 and address what they did. Right away, round 4, pick 128, they selected Dan Moore Jr., the offensive tackle from Texas A&M. So right away, offensive tackle was obviously our biggest need remaining in the draft. A lot of us wanted to see them go with one in the first 2 rounds. They did not. They did get Kendrick Green at center/guard on day 2. But here in day 3, they start off with pick 128, Dan Moore Jr. He is a true left tackle. He played left tackle for the majority of the time at Texas A&M. He is a guy that can move around. I think he played a little bit around the other spots of the line. Pittsburgh has been drafting a lot of versatile players who play multiple positions. So they want position flexibility. They want guys they can plug in different spots in case of injury or in case of performance, whatever that is. But Dan Moore Jr. played predominantly at left tackle, which is the spot we need. Some guys look at him as a potential project. I think he's solid. I don't know if he starts this year. I think maybe closer to next year is when we see him start 2022. This year he's going to be in competition right now. 4 spots on our line are solidified now. With Green at center, we have Dotson and DeCastro at guard. We have Zach Banner at right tackle. And now at left tackle, we're going to see a couple guys playing for that spot. Potentially B.J. Finney kind of in there a little bit, possibly going for that spot. But Chuks Okafor and Dan Moore Jr. are going to be fighting for that spot. Now, Moore's got a lot of upside. He seems to be really good in a zone blocking scheme, which is what we've been going for. We've been drafting a lot of zone blocking guys. If you have not noticed, this Matt Canada offense is going to be a zone style offense. We've got a lot of zone blocking going on. We're going to see a lot of running in this offense, it looks like. We've got the tools for that now. And Dan Moore Jr. fits in that style. So it's another guy that fits. He's a big physical guy. He's got some length, good hand technique. He can pull. I think it's a decent pick. I don't know if he's going to be a day 1 starter. I don't know if he's exactly what we were looking for in terms of an impact player right away, because we did wait till the 4th round to get a tackle instead of going for one earlier. But he is a guy that's an instant rotational guy that is going to battle Chuks Okafor for the starting spot. And by next year, when Okafor's contract is up, we can plug him in at the starting left tackle spot. I see a lot of potential here. I don't love the pick, but I like it. It was drafting one of the better players for our scheme and the highest possible need we had left for our first pick in round 4. So I like that. Second pick in round 4. We have round 4, pick 140. We stayed with Texas A&M here. Teammate of Dan Moore Jr., linebacker Buddy Johnson. I like what we did with linebackers in this draft. We needed depth both inside linebacker and outside linebacker in those 2 spots. We got guys for both in this draft. Buddy Johnson is an inside linebacker from Texas A&M. I like this pick. He was not the biggest need by any means. We still needed edge depth a little more. We still needed outside linebacker depth more than inside. And we needed corner more. So as far as filling a need, it was not our highest need. We have obviously our 2 starters right now in Devin Bush and Vince Williams. We have Robert Spillane back. And Avery Williamson might possibly still come back. He's a free agent. And we have Ulysses Gilbert III there. And we also have the former corner safety Marcus Allen coming down at inside linebacker. So even if we lose Avery Williamson, we have 4 guys in those spots, 3 of which started at different times last year. And I've always liked UG3 as well, in spite of his injuries. So we have 3 to 4 guys that are already in that spot. So Buddy Johnson is fighting for a roster spot here, but his tape looks really impressive. Sideline to sideline, his speed. He's one of the faster linebackers in the second half of this draft. I like his speed a lot here. He's a tackle machine. Over 200 tackles in college. He gets to the ball. He's very quick. He reads plays pretty well. It seems like his mental acuity is pretty high. He's able to diagnose the draws or the option plays. He gets to the ball carrier quickly. He's around the ball a lot. He's a good zone inside linebacking cover guy. Not only is he a guy that can tackle in the backfield and get to the running back, he can blitz the quarterback well. He's got a big motor, and he can cover in the zone blocking scheme. He's not going to be a cover guy in terms of covering tight ends and man-to-man, stuff like that. That's a weakness of his, just like it is Williams, just like it is Spillane. That is not our inside linebacker strength, but he covers well in the zone. He's got a few pass deflections in the zone. He's stayed in the middle of the field and done a good job spotting the ball. Again, and he also is an absolute hitter. He's got speed. He can read plays well. I like him a lot. I think he's going to be an instant piece in our offense. I think he probably has higher upside than UG3 and Spillane to come in at that third inside linebacker spot. And if Vince Williams ages out or gets injured or anything like that in the future, I can see Buddy Johnson being an impact player. Spot starting this year and possibly even starting next year. I like what he brings to the table. I think he's underrated at this spot. And even though it wasn't a big need for us and it wasn't the right pick in terms of position, it was a good guy as inside linebacker. He's going to be instant depth, and he is one to watch. I'm looking forward to watching him in training camp and preseason. Then we traded up. Pittsburgh got active in the 5th round. We did not initially have a 5th round pick, but we traded up into the 5th round. We traded a 2022 4th round pick to get up into this draft. Round 5, pick 156, Isaiah Loudermilk, defensive tackle / D-end from Wisconsin. This one is a head scratcher. I'm not quite sure what to make of this pick. You figure trading up into the 5th might be a good move, possibly to get either depth on the edge or, as an outside linebacker, or especially at cornerback. I was clamoring for a corner at this point because that was our biggest need on the board. We did not. We don't draft corners well, so I guess we passed on it. We decided to go Isaiah Loudermilk here, and I'm not quite sure. This, to me, feels like a project. He's a big guy from Wisconsin. He moves fairly well for being a big dude. I thought he moved a little slow on tape, but he does fit our system well. He's a guy that gets to the quarterback. He is big and physical. He does use his size to his advantage. I think he moves a little slow. It kind of reminds me if we had like a Cam Hayward that was really injured and kind of in the last year of his contract, an older kind of injured version, but he's got that big body type. He's physical. Wisconsin produces big physical guys. He does seem like a solid tackler of the running back. He does get to the quarterback. Again, some of his raw techniques don't seem that polished to me. And again, he does seem a little bit slow off the edge, but he'd be learning behind guys like Tuitt and especially Cam Hayward, who he models after, in my opinion. And he is another one of these guys that fits the 3-4 scheme, which is what we play. I think he's better off, whether he plays the edge or he plays at defensive tackle. He fits our scheme well. So he came to the right team. He's got good guys to learn from, and he's a project, but he's got some upside. So once again, it's not a bad pick for the position. It fits our scheme just like Buddy Johnson. But also, we had a bunch of guys at these spots. We have our 2 starters. We've got Tyson Alualu inside. We had guys like Bugs and a bunch of guys backing him up. We had guys lined up in those positions already. So yeah, we needed depth on the defensive line on the outside, but I don't really understand this pick. But again, it's a good system fit, and it could mean something for us in the future. Here we go. I like this one a lot. Round number 6, pick 216, Quentin Rochet, outside linebacker from Miami. Again, we stole some of these late rounds with linebackers, and this to me is probably the 6th round steal, and I would say for the last 2 rounds, that was the biggest steal of the draft. I like that this value pick is great. I thought Quentin Rochet could have been like a mid-4th round pick. I like him a lot. He transferred over from Temple. He had some very effective seasons at Temple. He was one of the better defensive players of the year in those conferences when he was at Temple. Then he went to Miami and played opposite Jalen Phillips this year. Miami had a lot of good edge rushing. Quentin Rochet is just solid, man. Good tackler on the running back. good motor. He's undersized, he's a little small, but he's very quick and he's got good technique. I like his quickness and I love his technique. He's a multiple technique guy to get around linebackers. He uses that finesse. I like him a lot. I think he's pretty fast. I think he's just a solid guy. I just like what he brings to the table overall. I think he's going to be around the quarterback a lot. He's a high energy guy. He's a hard worker, and he's been consistently good. Sacks, tackles, a lot of tackles for a loss. I just think he's a guy that you're going to find around the ball, and I think for a 6th-round pick, the value here is incredible. Again, he could have been a 4th-rounder easily, in my opinion. He was just buried behind a couple other good edge rushers from Miami. He was like 3rd on his team because they already had good guys. But he was good at Temple, good at Miami, good in big games, and just always around the ball. I like him a lot. I think he's going to be one of the steals of this draft. I think he makes this team and provides instant outside linebacker depth. He could easily wind up being the 3rd guy behind Watt and Highsmith. And I think he might even, I'm not going to say higher upside than Highsmith, but he's got potential there. He can play plug and play this season at certain spots. I think much like Buddy Johnson inside, I think we're going to see Rochet on the field more than we expect on the outside. I like this kid. Then we go round 7, pick 245, Trey Norwood, cornerback from Oklahoma. Mike Tomlin made the pick on the draft. He said that Norwood was a Swiss Army knife. Again, Pittsburgh likes players that play in different spots. Norwood played in a lot of different places at Oklahoma. Someone else said they remind him of Cam Sutton, how they got used in college, moved around. He played outside corner, he played slot corner, he played safety. Those are the kind of guys we like, those Marcus Allen kind of guys, Cam Sutton guys. He could fill in for Mike Hilton here, and I don't think he's going to be nearly as impactful early. He's a little bit undersized, and he tends to lack some athletic ability. He's not the quickest. He's not the fastest. He doesn't have a lot of natural athletic ability, but he is around the ball. He has good ball skills. And again, he made, I think, his best plays in the slot this year. He had that big pick 6 on Kyle Trask in the bowl game from Florida. He plays big in big games. I like him better on the inside in the slot than I do on the outside. And again, he can also fill in a lot of places. He can fill in at safety. He can fill in either spot of the corner. You have positional flexibility there, and you have depth, and he has ball skills. So we'll see what Norwood can do. He's competing with the likes of guys like Jordan Dangerfield at safety. Maybe Sean Davis if he comes back or not. We don't know. But looking at corners, we have guys like James Pierre, who we're not sure what he brings to the table yet. Looked really good last year, but he's undrafted. We have the problems with Justin Lane right now with the whole jail time thing. So there's a lot of question marks at our back end corners after you get past Sutton and Hayden. So let's see what Norwood can do. Let's see if those ball skills translate, and let's see if he can get on the field. So interesting possible pick there. Good pick for depth. We kind of waited a little too long to go corner, in my opinion, here, but it's another body on the roster who's got some upside. And then round 7, pick 254, Preston Harvin, the punter from Georgia Tech. People don't like taking punters in the draft. I like taking this punter. He was the Ray Guy Award winner as the best punter in 2020. This dude is like 260 pounds as a punter. He is a really big guy, abnormally big for a punter, but also an athlete. He can track down the field. He can throw the ball on fake punts. He's very athletic for his size, and he's got a lot of strength for a punter. Strong leg, good coffin corner kicker. He can do directional punts. He's the best punter in this draft, bar none. And again, for a round 7 pick, how many round 7 picks are you going to get that they're going to get legitimate playing time in the NFL? This guy is instantly going to compete with our current punter and probably going to take his spot. We've had a lot of hit and miss stuff with Jordan Berry. He's been hot and cold a lot. Didn't have the best year last year. Our punt team needed help this year. Buddy Johnson is going to help, in my opinion, with special teams on that. Quentin Rochet can as well. I think Norwood even returned kicks and punts. So another special teams addition here. And I think Harvin probably winds up being our starting punter next year. High upside. For a 7th round pick, you get a guy that's an underrated athlete who won the Ray Guy Award as best punter. I like this pick. He's a guy that probably is going to start for us next year on special teams. Then we go to our undrafted free agents. And right away, we got 2 corners that are going to turn heads. And you wonder, why didn't we get corners in the draft? We waited until the 7th round to get a corner. This first one's really interesting. Shakur Brown, cornerback from Michigan State. If you recognize the name Shakur Brown, from either my Twitter, at jburke, Jayburke, or from my predictions video, I had Pittsburgh targeting Shaq Brown in the mid to late 4th round. I had a mid to late 4th round grade on this guy. I was saying with one of our 2 4th round picks, we should look at someone like a Keith Taylor or a Cameron Bynum or a Shakur Brown. He was one of those 3 guys I was looking at mid to late 4th round. Why he went undrafted, I do not know. Obviously, I'm missing something, whether it's injury, character, I don't know. But he was undrafted in this draft. But to me, it's like picking up a 4th round pick. I looked at Shaq Brown's tape. I liked his tape a lot. I see a lot of upside in him. If we had taken him in the 4th round, had I not known he wouldn't be drafted, I would have loved him as a late 4th round pick. Instead, we get him undrafted and he comes to the team anyway. So to me, it's like picking a corner in the 4th round. So as much as I was mad at the draft for not doing that, we got one here. And I don't know, again, why he wasn't drafted. Obviously, they know something I don't know. And maybe I had way too high of a grade on him. I don't know. But I like his tape and I like his upside. And so to see him on the team undrafted is like, well, obviously he fell for a reason. But for an undrafted free agent, for a guy that I had a 4th round grade on, pretty happy with us getting him. So he could be a guy that we look at in that Mike Hilton spot, that 3rd or 4th corner, that could potentially compete with a guy like James Pierre, Trey Norwood. The other corner that I find very interesting here that we picked up undrafted was Mark Gilbert, the cornerback from Duke. He had his father, I think it was his father, played 11 seasons in the NFL at a high level, and he's Darrelle Revis' cousin. He had a lot of scouting tape on him. Looked very physical. Looked like he had ball skills. Looked like he had a lot of pass breakups. I like what I saw from Mark Gilbert. He's got the pedigree. He's got the speed. And he's got some ball skills. So another interesting name with some pedigree there. So I'm looking forward to seeing Trey Norwood, Shaq Brown, and Mark Gilbert all on fighting for these last couple roster spots, seeing if they can make it as a fringe corner and make an impact at cornerback. Very interesting. I wish we hadn't waited so long to get some guys, but we got some interesting guys in here who I could see potential with. Also drafted Calvin Bundage, linebacker from Oklahoma State. I like him a lot. He looked really good on the outside. Seemed to get after the quarterback and tackle quite a bit. He's a hitter. He's a physical guy. He's speedy, so I like what I'm seeing from him. Wide receiver from Hawaii, we got Rico Busey. Special teamer, it looks like, can return some kicks and punts. Looked pretty good as a speedy wide receiver. He's got a chance to make the team maybe as the 6th wide receiver. Our first 5 spots are already guaranteed, so if we keep a 6th, maybe he's got a shot. Also, wide receiver out of Kent State, local connection there, Isaiah McCoy. He didn't play against the biggest competition, but I like what I saw of his tape. 2 safeties here. We got Donovan Steiner, the safety from Florida, and Lamont Wade, the safety from Penn State. So got a couple of guys potentially that can back up our starters here. Not sure what's going to happen with Dangerfield. I think Marcus Allen's going down to inside linebacker, and we didn't re-sign Sean Davis right now. So there is a need for depth at safety position behind our 2 starters. So Lamont Wade and Donovan Steiner can look at those spots. And finally, Jamar Watson, linebacker from Kentucky. He's got a good motor. Played for an underrated defense on the outside last year at Kentucky. I like what I've seen of him. So another potential pass rusher. Looking to see if he can make the roster as maybe a 4th or 5th outside linebacker. We needed depth there and we got it. So again, not too bad. Not too bad. I see some potential here. Dan Moore can come in and be a starter within the first 2 years. Again, 2 underrated picks in Buddy Johnson and Quentin Rochet. But then you look at some head scratchers. It's say, why did they draft some guys who we already had position filled at and trading up to get Loudermilk and guys like that instead of going for a corner, and then we got them late. So we filled all of our needs. We got bodies in camp. We got a couple of steals at linebacker. We got our punter. So we got some bodies. Overall, I'm pretty happy with it. I'm still sitting kind of the same place that I was yesterday. I can't go as low as a C, but I can't go higher than a B-. I'm going to sit us right in that B- range. I would say well better than average, but still a couple of head scratchers and some room to grow. So let's see how guys like Kendrick Green, Dan Moore, Isaiah Loudermilk progress before we can totally say. Again, it's a draft. We have no idea really. But overall, I'm pretty proud of these picks. We got ourselves upgrades on the offensive line. We got a bunch of guys for our zone blocking schemes. We got some nice pass rushers. We got depth in all the spots we needed depth. And we got some late round guys who should have went earlier in the draft. So a couple late steals. I like this draft overall. I'm going to go B-. What do you guys think? Who do you think we should have drafted? Tell me in the comments below. Like, share, and subscribe. And I'll be seeing you guys again toward training camp with a lot more Pittsburgh Steelers news and updates. Take care, my friends.